now for all your lawn care needs, it's Nirvana!
So I recently got an email from someone fairly local, and they've asked to remain anonymous, which I'm going to respect. They said, "Hey Eric, big fan of what you do. I won Kurt's VMA Strat. If you want to come check it out, you're free to do that." I just saw Skystang 1 in Texas this last October. That was only 3 months ago. So to now be in a position to see another Kurt guitar and to have this one be local, like it's nuts. I can't believe it. This one will be a little different in that it's just the body with no electronics and no strings, and the neck, it's two pieces, they're not attached. We're going to take a close look at it, we're going to document all we can off of it, and we're going to go see Kurt's guitar, so let's go.
Although Kurt Cobain is mostly known for playing his Jaguar and his Mustangs, in the big picture, he played Stratocasters just as much as he played his offsets. What fans have nicknamed the VMA Strat is one of 4 hot rail Stratocasters that he used in the Nevermind era. Of these 4, 2 of them are white. We can tell them apart by the color of their hot rails. The VMA Strat has white hot rails, while the other one has black hot rails. One could argue that these Stratocasters were disposable. In this era, when we see him smashing a guitar, it's most often a Strat. But at the same time, 2 of these in particular got significant use. The Sunburst Strat was used for the majority of their headlining Reading set in 1992. The band went into that show knowing it was going to be one of the biggest of their career at that point. The VMA Strat survived almost the entirety of 1992, and although their VMA appearance is only one song, it is arguably one of the most iconic Nirvana performances. This is a Japanese standard series Stratocaster. We unfortunately can't pin down the exact production year, as part of the serial number is no longer there. It's most likely either a late 80s or a 1990 or 91. It makes its first appearance on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1992 in Osaka, Japan. We can more or less speculate that it was bought right in Japan, as the band was in the midst of their Pacific Rim tour at the time. And either its strap or the guitar itself was brand new, because funny enough, we can see a tag with a barcode hanging off one of those. At its first show, we can already see its distinguishing features, the white hot rails and these 2 burn marks. By the photos, it looks like it got its initiation very early on, already getting tossed around at the end of its first night. With the footage that's currently available to us, we can say this guitar was used at least these 8 shows. There are some really great photos of it being used on June 30th. A funny instance that stuck out to me is October 3rd. It looks like there was some sort of audience participation, with a kid playing the Strat while Kurt just sang. The guitar met its end on October 30th, 1992 in Argentina. This fan favorite show is very unique for various reasons. There's clear footage of the entire concert. The Strat was used on the last 6 songs and was smashed for the final time during Endless Nameless. Interestingly, Kurt held the body while smashing the neck, whereas he often did it the other way around. This method only snapped the neck off, keeping the entire body in one piece, which can't be said for other guitars that he destroyed. But perhaps it'll always be most known for its use a month prior, on September 9th, 1992, at the MTV Video Music Awards. This entire day is filled with drama and craziness. And all that is discussed in depth in this video if you want to learn more about Nirvana's fight with MTV producers after soundcheck, Kurt's feud with Axl Rose, and Krist accidentally smashing in his own face with his flying bass. This guitar was memorably used for an extremely energetic performance of Lithium, ending with Kurt stabbing his cab with its neck before tossing it into the drums. When I first got into Nirvana as a teen, 2 performances in particular that really stuck with me was Smells Like Teen Spirit on Saturday Night Live and the VMA performance of Lithium. I had these two videos on loop. I can't tell you how many times I watched them. These are both my favorite performances of these two respective songs. So when the remains of this exact white Stratocaster was right in front of me, it was an extremely surreal moment. It brought me back to many years ago when I was learning how to play Lithium by having this video on repeat and watching Kurt's hands on this exact neck. For many years, I told myself I was a Mustang and Jagstang guy, but that changed last year when I put together my own VMA Strat build. This is the first build I put together and set up 100% by myself, so it'll always be special for that reason. The initial plan was to make a bunch of hot rail Strat content with it and then convert it to a K-Strat. But I ended up loving the Strat hot rail setup so much that I couldn't see myself being without it. That led me to making a separate K-Strat build from scratch, and this is the one that really made me finally admit to myself that I am a Strat guy. This guitar is easily in the top 3 of my entire collection, but I wouldn't have gotten to it had I not built this beauty first. So when the opportunity came to see and document the real deal in person, I couldn't say yes fast enough. There were a number of things I wanted to be sure to document. I knew going in that this was going to be a totally different experience from documenting Skystang 1. These are two separate pieces of this Stratocaster. Even though there are no strings or electronics, I was determined to get as much as I possibly could and to create a thorough visual record of the VMA Strat remains, as this is all that is left of it. What is in two pieces today was once a fully functioning guitar that Kurt Cobain played at one of Nirvana's largest shows, and the guitar he was playing while creating Anarchy on MTV to a live audience of millions. Before we start examining the guitar, I'd like to thank everyone who has donated to me via buymeacoffee.com. These videos take a lot of research and take a lot of time when it comes to writing, recording, and editing, so the extra caffeine has really been helping. I sincerely can't thank you all enough. Let's start with the body. What I bet your eyes go to first when looking at this are the signatures. This is the story of the autographs as listed on the items auction page on Julian's Auctions website.
The original recipient won this guitar by participating in a contest on the BBC Radio 1 show Annie Nightingale in July 1992. He was also given 2 tickets to the Reading Festival show in Reading, England on August 30, 1992 to see Nirvana perform. The radio show had initially advertised the guitar that Cobain would use at the Reading Festival as a prize to the contest winner, but that guitar was not available, and a couple of months later the winner received the damaged but signed Argentina guitar instead.
Kurt signed big, bold, and with caps lock on. The end of the R has faded, but is still visible. Krist, who was going by the Americanized version of his name Krist at the time, is the only one who signed on the pickguard. Dave took some time with his signature, writing an entire poem and outlining it all in a heart. Where the input jack would be has a doodle in it, a stick figure that's saying, "Help me." With it being so close to Dave's signature, I'd bet on this doodle being done by him. There have been many, although mostly fake, Nirvana signed guitars displayed at various hard rock cafes. The signatures here are not only 100% genuine, but are on the body of a guitar that Kurt actually played. And for it to be a guitar that was used at one of their most famous TV performances, it's truly mind-blowing when you take a step back and add all of that up. To say that this is a one-of-a-kind piece would be a massive understatement. Getting the exact color of the body was important to me. I've seen this guitar be called anything from Arctic white to Olympic white to cream. If you've ever shopped around for a white Fender, then you know firsthand that what they label as white is variable and can mean a lot of different things depending on the exact model and year. With Skystang 1, I had only a few days to prepare and brought swatches. I had more time to prep this time around. I brought a NYX color analyzer. These are the swatches that are the closest matches, and this is the RGB value of the scanned sample. A detail I was really excited to see in person were the 2 burn marks. These marks are visible in almost all the live footage of this guitar being used. As discussed before, it was already visible the first time it's seen live. But it also still has the price tag apparently. So either this guitar was bought with the burn marks, or someone in the band or crew somehow burned these 2 spots before its first show. The lower burn mark is pretty gnarly. It went through the paint in 2 layers of wood. The top one ate through the paint and the edge of the pickguard. Speaking of the pickguard, it was funny to see that the pickup selector is still there, while all the other electronics and hardware are missing. There is a lot of damage on the body from all the beatings this guitar took. Instead of me explaining and describing each ding and scratch one by one, I'm gonna let the video do all the talking when it comes to those. I was surprised to see that the bottom strap pin is angled, probably from getting hit so hard. This is a Dunlop strap lock button. The top button is long gone. The extensive damage continues on the back. I do want to point out that there are cracks on both sides of the neck pocket. The crack by the lower horn is noticeably longer. If I had to guess, I'd have to say that either Kurt or Krist wrote The Who on the backplate. This is most likely poking fun at this being a smashed guitar, since The Who were known for smashing their instruments. As shown prior, the neck was snapped off in Argentina. The portion with the screws is still connected to the body. It's crazy to think that the screws held like that. You can still read the words serial number. And on the neck itself, the first character of the serial number is lost to time. There is noticeable wear on the frets themselves. There is a decent crack on the headstock that runs into the neck itself. It looks like the upper half of the nut is missing because of this crack. On both sides of the headstock, you can clearly see the marks left by the tuners. I brought a digital caliper to get measurements of the neck. I also brought my scale and weighed both the body and the neck. As I was documenting, the owner of the guitar very casually starts saying to me, "Hey, have you seen that picture of Kurt holding a giant Nevermind poster?" And I quickly said, "And the poster is autographed and Kurt is holding up a cigarette to it? That one?" The owner says, "Yes, I have it. Do you want to see it?" And for real, I was in complete disbelief. I was mentally prepared to see the VMA Strat, but out of the blue, to get to see this massive signed poster was a huge surprise. When Kurt's guitars get sold at auction, I lose count of how many times people reach out and express to me that they hope it'll go to someone who actually cares about the band, and not just someone who's looking to invest or flip it years later for a profit. I can tell you with more than 100% confidence that this guitar is in the hands of one of the most passionate and dedicated Nirvana fans I have ever met. We talked through the guitar's use show by show. They showed me their own research and their notes. We looked at set lists and speculated together which songs Kurt might have played on it. They talked about how they look at live photos and can't wrap their mind around the fact that the exact guitar is right in front of them. I could see the excitement in their eyes and hear the joy in their voice as they pointed out every scratch to me. The Nirvana fan community can rest assured knowing that this unbelievable piece of music history has found a loving home where it will be taken care of and cherished at the level it deserves. I will never be able to thank the owner enough for reaching out to me and for allowing me to see and hold this historic guitar.